Disruptors. Yeah, see, we real estate disruptors.
Hey guys, Harvey, Luke, Mike, Ray, welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for buying the book. Thanks for the reviews. I appreciate all you guys. What's up, Ray? All right, so a couple of quick housekeeping items, and I'm going to be repeating this multiple times. So first, be sure on the bottom right when you're chatting to send it to all panelists and attendees so we can all see what each other is saying. And then I want to hear what you guys' biggest takeaway from the book was, or questions, things you didn't understand. So raise your hand, and I'll bring you guys up to talk. And then I am in a storage closet. This is where we're stored. This is where they locked me when we got this space. This is the best we could do for me. So I'm in the storage closet, but we are getting more space, so I will get my own offices sometime soon, hopefully. Hopefully they'll allow me to do that. So raise your hand if you want to ask questions or share your biggest takeaway from the book. If you guys aren't raising hands, I can't help. Anybody? And if there's nothing there, we can troubleshoot your situations, your challenges. So, all right, we're gonna pick volunteers. What's up, Ray? Is it Raylan? It's Raylon.
It's Raylon.
Hey, Raylon, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for your support.
No problem. I appreciate the information.
So, was there anything from the book that you learned that was surprising, or you've implemented and you've already seen a difference?
I'm still trying to practice it so I could use it more. I feel like I had a lead the other day and I didn't use your techniques like I should have, and I feel like that's caused some pushback from the seller. So
that's all right. It happens. What was it that you didn't do that you wish you did?
I don't feel like I built enough rapport before giving them the offer.
Got it. Okay, so let's talk about that. What was it like when you presented the offer?
I need to think about it. I want to get offers from other investors. I didn't establish the rules either.
That's where I was going to go here. Establishing the rules. It's so critical to the process. So, did you establish the rules at all, or did you feel like your rules that you established were kind of wishy-washy?
I would have to go back and listen to the phone call, but
well, you got recorded calls. That's a plus.
So I would say it's wishy-washy.
All
I feel like I tried to, but she still gave me I want to get other investors to.
That's all right. So, we can role play it. You can be her. I'll be the home buyer on establishing rules.
Sure.
All right. Hey, Raylon. First of all, thank you for inviting me into your home. Can I share with you how these appointments normally go?
Sure.
So first of all, again, thank you for inviting me in. Typically the homeowners that we meet with, what they want to know is, how does this process work? How much money they're going to get from the sale, and how soon they'll get the money. Am I missing anything at all?
No.
Great. And obviously, to see if there's a home that I'm going to buy, I'm going to have to ask you some questions. And some of these questions might be kind of personal. Is that all right?
May I ask why?
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure that we can't buy all the homes. I wish we could, but there's only a handful of houses that we can buy. And so when we buy a home, we just want to make sure that the person that we buy the home from, that we're really helping them out. We want to make sure that the person that we're helping out is actually benefit from us buying their home.
Okay. That's fine then.
All right. Thank you. And at the end of our appointment, Ray, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to buy your home or we don't buy your home. And either way is fine. If you could just do me a favor, if the price we offer doesn't work for you, or you're just not quite convinced I'm your guy, could you just tell me it's a no?
Okay.
And likewise, if we're not planning on buying your home, are you okay if I just tell you that?
I would hope so.
I think that's only fair. So, and if it does make sense, Ray, at the end of our time together, for us to work together, what that means is we're going to take everything we talked about today, and we're going to go ahead and put that all in writing. Is that fair?
Yes.
And that's it. That's just
fair.
establishing the rules.
It's pretty smooth there.
It doesn't sound threatening, I hope.
Yeah, it didn't. I feel like if I did say it, like I probably came off like this is what's gonna happen. Like I feel like in the book you said make them feel like they're deciding.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just the guide. If you were to look at this, if you were a kid playing by the river, and you wanted to get some water, you divert it, right? You just take a little shovel and just kind of dig this little path for the water to go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of what you're doing here. Like, you know where the water is going to go, and you're just dictating where the water is going to go, but they feel like they're the water, like they're driving.
Gotcha.
So,
well, maybe you can help me with another tip. It's not a cash deal. I was trying to do subject to, and they're not wanting to sign the deed over and leave the debt in their name. Do you do sub to deals?
we don't, and it's not that we're against it. It's just that we're not there yet. And it's been on our action item. I want to say probably like 5 months now, maybe 6 months. But we're looking to hire a guy to be in our cog, right? Who's part of the organization, whose sole job is to do creative deals.
What is a cog?
Like a cog in a system. Sorry, like you look at all the gears and the wheels, right? So in our machine, we got acquisitions, dispositions, integrator, right? We got all these different things, and we're just going to create we're creating a new job role to just be the creative guy.
Is a cog? Is that like an acronym or?
No, that's just like you're talking about like a gear in a machine.
Gotcha.
A gear, a wheel, a cog, nuts, bolts.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Well, I mean, any advice to what I should do? Like, just give her some time, because I feel like cash offers aren't going to work.
What makes you think a cash offer wasn't going to work?
From the amount of work needed and what she owes. So I feel like.
Is she upside down?
She's not upside down. It's just to get it back to what it needs to be. She would have to be a short sale for like conventional 70% offers, or 70 to 75.
How upside down is she?
I don't remember the numbers. I mean, like if she listed it with a realtor, I'm sure she could sell it. But like to an investor.
And you tried to transition to sub 2?
Yep.
And her objection was she didn't want to
leave the debt in her name.
Got it.
I even offered, like, we could put it, use a servicing company. They'll hold a pre-signed deed in lieu of foreclosure. And she's still getting pushback.
Yeah, well, the problem is you're saying servicer, and most people don't know what a servicer is.
Gotcha.
So
probably should explain that.
Yeah, so Ray, actually are you in Pace's sub 2 program?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So I actually had a debate with Pace about this yesterday. And what I said to him was like, look, it sounds like when you say terms, you might be confusing people. So the way I would do it, and haven't done it yet, right? So full context, he's the expert. I'm just asking questions. But what I said was, the way I would present it is like, hey, Raylan, what if I could pay your price. But in order to do that, I can get you your price. And then I would also be able to take care of your mortgage, in a way that worked out where you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And they might say, what does that mean? It's like, well, I would just make your mortgage payments every single month. You'll never have to worry about the house again. What if I could do that?
I don't recall how I presented it, but I just told her like I didn't even give her a cash offer based on what she told me her mortgage amount.
But my point is that you start saying like take over your mortgage payments or take over your payments, this, that. Like, what does that mean? So I just want you. The way I would just present it is kind of sounds like I would just cover your mortgage. I'll take care of it.
I'll cover your mortgage.
And they might, and when they'll ask, what does that mean? It's like, like I'll make the mortgage payment every single month. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but it's less confusing because what happens is if someone feels dumb, then they feel disconnected. And they're afraid to ask questions. When they're afraid to ask questions, then you're losing rapport because there's a question they want to ask and they're not asking it. And it's just uncomfortable.
Got it.
All right. So I see Andrew, Harvey, James, Joe, Luke, Mike. Raise your hand. I'll bring you up. I want to talk what your biggest takeaway was from the book or any questions you have about what we talked about in the book. So, Joe, you're up.
Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
Can hear you great.
All right, sweet. So the book was great, actually. I'm reading a few other sales books and kind of talks like very similar stuff, so it's great. And I've been kind of practicing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question on one lead I've been following up for like 2 years now at this point. It's pretty close to that point. And so it's a husband and wife and a daughter. And then pretty much the husband, he at his price, I can make a good deal and he's happy with it. But the wife doesn't want to sell because they got a newborn and they're not sure with the market and all this other stuff. And they don't want to move because she doesn't have a job and that sort of stuff. So that's the objection I'm getting from her end. And I spoke to her a few months ago because he gave me her number just to speak to her directly. Because they haven't been able to set up an appointment because she just doesn't want to set something up because she's just not even sure if she wants to do this. And then every time I talk to her, she just doesn't really give me she doesn't tell me what he's telling me. So it tells me that she's just not uncomfortable. She's not comfortable with me asking those personal questions. Maybe I'm not sure if I give her another go in a month or so, and ask her hey, is it okay if I ask you some personal questions like you did with Ray recently?
I think there's that. You ask, can I ask you some personal questions? And then when they say, let's say you ask permission, right? And they're like, well, and you feel like there's still something she's holding back, we will just pull it out. Joe, can I share something with you?
Yeah.
Kind of get the feeling that there's something that you're holding back that, you're uncomfortable sharing with me. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, there's something. Do you want me to go ahead and say it? Like that?
That's how I will pull it out.
Okay.
If there's something going on, I just freaking do it. I'll tell you. And this is true in my personal life too, right? It was in my Facebook group, and someone made a comment, and it seemed like they were throwing shade, right? It seemed like it, so I just called them. I was like, "Hey, are we good?" I picked the phone, I called them. Are we good? The fastest way to solve any problems is just to address it.
Okay.
So if you feel like there's something being held back, we have in that book, we talk about assuming on purpose, assuming out loud. And that's what we're talking about. Hey, can I share something with you? Kind of getting the feeling that there's something going on here. Can't quite get a handle on it. Am I missing something?
Okay.
And they have to talk about it.
All right, I'll give that a go next time around. I'll let you know how that goes. I had a couple other questions. Let me look at them. So I have a 9 to 5. So I used to cold call, but I found that it takes too much time to get like a lead, and compared to like SMS, I can send like it's a quicker time to get a lead for my time. So what I've been finding is what I do is like once I get a lead, once I finish my text campaign, I call them back. But sometimes they're saying like call me like in a week or something like that. Do you just go ahead and call them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. If the moment someone replies back and there's any kind of interest, we just pick up the phone call.
Okay.
And then if they don't answer, then we'll ask them when's a good time to call.
Gotcha.
Because when you call them, you're not calling from the same number as you're texting them.
Yeah.
So they don't even know that you're calling them.
Gotcha. So what I have, I've started using RI Reply, and are you familiar with RI Reply?
Some of our students use it.
Okay. Yeah. So what they have a function that you can set up the call that you're calling from to be the number you texted them from. So
cool.
Yeah, so that's what I've been implementing. So then they're aware of it.
Okay. Well, then that's different.
Yeah.
So the way we've always done it, we've always called them from a different number.
Okay. All right. I'll give that a split test, trying to see which one works better.
Cool. And then, you have more questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, just you can go ahead. I'm gonna read off one more.
What other sales books are you reading?
What was the other one? Sandler Training, I think it was the other one.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So that's a big one that I've been trying to, the one thing I did find that's been helpful since I started reading like more sales books is like the upfront agreement. Like I can tell immediately whenever I started using that, the leads were more, they felt I was more in charge and kind of more comfortable. And there's a couple others that I have in the pipeline. I'm going to read next, but I've got others. I'm rereading Principles right now, so going through that.
That's a long one.
Yeah, that's a long one. That is.
Yeah.
Probably gonna take me a whole month.
Yeah, it took me like 2.5, 3 months to finish the audio book. But yeah, the only reason why I was asking about the sales books is because I am on a mission to become the best sales trainer. So I'm reading every sales book that's rated ahead of mine on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this I heard Sandler's training was like one of the go-tos when you're trying to get started with the sales training. That's why I went for that.
It is absolutely one of the best. We basically took a lot of it and applied it to our industry.
Yeah, and that's what I like about yours. It's kind of condensed and it's kind of to the point of what it's useful in wholesaling, right? Yep. So okay, let me read through this last one. So lately I've been working more on my getting probate leads. So I've been getting some common objections from them. I haven't like figured out exactly what's the best way to approach it. The biggest one is like whenever they're still in the probate process, and I can tell like they're just in the probate process, they don't know what's going on with it. And I try to position myself in a manner like I know kind of like what the process is, so just to walk me through where they're at that moment. But eventually it just gets to a point that they just don't want to they just want to push it off, and they're like, okay, there's not really a point for us to talk right now. We can talk once we get to our personal. I'm in Florida, so we have personal representatives. So they can say like once we have our personal representatives set, then we can talk a little bit more, and that's when we can possibly sell. I've talked to other probate attorneys that I've networked with, and they told me that you can actually sell it beforehand. So that's what I tell them, because as long as I know someone, I can just hit them up when I get to that point. What would your response be, or objection handling would that be with that?
So you remember this section in the book about third-party stories?
Yeah.
Hey Joe, I appreciate that. That makes sense. I was actually talking to so-and-so, and they were also waiting for the personal representative. But we were able to find a way where we were able to buy their home without having to wait for the person representative. And they were able to, take care of the estate, whatever it is that they're trying to do. Right?
Okay.
I don't suppose, finding a way where we can get you your money faster so you can do whatever is of interest to you.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we would use a third-party story.
Okay. I'll give that a try. All right. I think that's about it for me right now.
All right. Awesome.
Appreciate it, Steve.
Yep. All right, guys. Anybody else? Any major takeaways? All right. We got Mike. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. So I'm not the whole way through the book yet. Working my way through it. It's definitely a lot of good information in there and a lot of things that I still need to learn.
Sure.
One question I had for you, and I watch a lot of your YouTube videos, and just wondering, like with the way you approach most sellers appointments, if you come in with a similar kind of like tone, approach, cadence, things like that, or if you're trying to read maybe the personality of the seller, and if you're adjusting to that, or if you're pretty typical in your approach to those appointments.
It's a healthy balance between the two. So I'm still going to be myself, but I'll also adjust for them. And so if you're dealing with a high D, someone that's really fast paced, like give me the bottom line, give me the number, we'll move our appointment a little bit faster.
Okay.
If we're dealing with a high I who really wants to talk about their friends and fun and all that other stuff, we'll talk a little bit more.
Gotcha.
If we're dealing with an S, we just know it's going to be a longer appointment.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with a C, you're going to have to answer their questions more precisely.
Okay.
So you recognize their personalities and you'll modify yourself a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay.
Like you can't change who you are. You can just change how you respond to their comments. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then a follow-on to that is, how do you know, like, when you've maybe gone too far out of who you are and potentially kind of gone too close to who they are? And I had an experience recently where I felt as if, the seller on the other line was kind of talking a little bit too much and about topics that he was off topic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt, I was thinking to myself in that call that I felt like I let it go too far off topic.
You lost control.
Yeah.
So we just say, hey, Mike, hang on a second. I'm still writing this stuff down. And they'll stop talking.
Gotcha.
And then take a moment to pause and then ask your next question.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure how to bring them back without kind of being like, hey, I think we're off topic. But
yeah, no, you can't say that because you're listening for. It's like, hang on, I'm writing this down. And then once you pause, okay, and then you ask your next question.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
It's really simple. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that's how I would do that.
That's awesome, because I knew I was off the rails on it, and I couldn't figure out how to get it back in the way that you were talking about it. That's great. And then similarly, like getting out the seller's price, seems like I don't have a lot of experience with it. I'm really new to this, but that seems like something from knowing myself that I might struggle with to, really be able to hold my position and not kind of give my price too early, right? Even before they would give theirs.
Yeah, and that is the most important. It's one of the most powerful weapons you have, or it's your magic bullet. If you fire it, once you fire it, you can't put it back in. It's kind of like the toothpaste. Right? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Right.
So you don't want to fire it until you know it's going to land. And if you fire it without knowing it's going to land, it's a wasted bullet and you can't use it again. So it takes discipline. I think you mentioned that you're still newer at this. So
Yeah.
what I'll share is that I know if I say a number, I will lose.
Right.
And I'll still do it for a while. It took a long time to have the discipline to just not share the number. And it could be an element of you wanting to be liked. And if you want to be liked, then it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's a business decision.
Yep.
It's either I tell them my number and they like me, or I don't tell them my number and I can live the lifestyle that I want.
Right. Now, is it also, if they're not going to give their number, is that a measure of motivation? That maybe they're not motivated? And maybe
I mean, there are some people that just want to hold it tight to their vest, but if that's the case, like, you got to pull it out of them. And if you can't pull it out of them, it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound like we're going to be able to work together. Sounds like you got this figured out.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one other question I had, and I don't know if I'm wasting my time in looking into these potential types of deals, but I'm noticing in a certain area where I'm looking to invest that there are some properties that are sitting for a very long time. They're listed by a realtor, but they've been sitting for a very long time. So, essentially no one's willing to pay that price, even at retail. So I had one experience where I contacted the realtor and started talking to them about the house, and immediately, I just asked her if she could give me some background information. She immediately told me, yeah, it's definitely dated, needs a lot of work. Kind of like making excuses for the price that it was listed at. And then I brought up the potential for owner financing, because it was a property that, the people who owned it, they had owned it for, a very long time. So to me, it seemed as if they would have paid off their mortgage regularly, that they'd own it outright. And I'm assuming I didn't establish any credibility with that question, because immediately when I asked that, she flipped it to where she felt that was riskier for the seller, and was essentially saying that in those types of scenarios, they would require, a very large down payment and a higher interest rate to protect the seller.
So I don't think she's wrong. I would probably say the same thing as a realtor.
Okay.
But at the same time, as a realtor, you don't ever want to sell as owner finances. How are you going to get paid your commission?
Okay. So then she wouldn't get paid a commission on that type of sale?
How would she? It would have to come out of the down payment.
Right.
She can't get a percentage of the commission for the next 30 years.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I wasn't sure how that worked.
It would have to come out of the down payment, which the seller had to be okay with. So let's say that you pay the seller $20,000 down payment, pays the realtor $12,000 commission. Now he's got, and then after title fees and everything else, he walks away with $3,000.
Right.
I don't know if that would work for the seller. It could.
Sure.
So I hope that helps.
Yeah, most definitely. It's awesome. So I appreciate
Anything
it.
else from the book that didn't make sense, struggling with, could use help with?
No, I think I'm still going through it. I think the main thing that's going to be on my mind is, developing kind of the phrases to say, and have those kind of in my tool belt and ready to use. That's probably the biggest thing that I might need to develop.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be salesy, but if you guys want to take this to the next level, we do have our workshops. We do it about once a month. It is $2,000, so it's not cheap. But we spend from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. talking only about sales, right? So for all you guys, whenever you guys are ready, I'm not asking you guys to sign up today, but just something to look forward to down the road. Any other questions, Mike?
No, that's it. I appreciate it.
All right, perfect. Anybody else? Either a major takeaway, they're like, never thought of that when you were reading the book, or you read the book and you're like, oh man, I wish I knew this my whole life. Because I had like a lot of the stuff I read in the book, I wish I knew that stuff 10, 20 years ago. Even while dating, it would have been really handy information, you know? So that, or if you're dealing with an appointment right now or a seller right now that you could use some help with. Don't be shy, guys. See Luke, James, David, and Andrew. The best way for me to help you guys is to answer your guys' questions. I want to help you guys with your business to close your next deal. That's the goal here in this call. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Steve. So I just want to go over this with you. So kind of let you know what like my sales process kind of looks like.
Sure.
So since I'm doing SMS, I like the first call. I like it. That's the reason I like it more than cold calling too, because it's like they showed interest, and then I get like they already have some form of interest already. So the first call I just literally just try to do for rapport building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give them a number at all. I just let them know, hey, look, this at the end. I always say, if they're really not giving me a number, I say, hey, look, I've just built this call to get to know you. We'll see if we're even a good fit, and then we can move forward. And tomorrow, or if it's something that they're not really even trying to get a move forward soon, I try to give them a call the next day, because usually it's in the evenings, and then tell them, hey, I can give you a call around this time. See what kind of a ballpark range we'll be at based off some comps we see. So I give them the script, like my ballpark range. And then I just try to. What's that?
On the phone before you meet them?
Yeah. So I'm doing this virtually. So that's
Don't do that.
Don't do it on the phone.
No, not your ballpark.
Okay.
You can get someone else's ballpark. You can say, without looking at your home, I'm just seeing what investors have paid for homes in the area.
Okay.
But this is not my number, right? This is what homes I've seen investors pay in the area. Is that a number that even makes sense for you?
Gotcha.
Because once it's your number, you're the bad guy.
Gotcha. Okay. That little phrase difference might work out better.
Yeah. So homes, I was looking and I see what investors in the area are paying for homes nearby. I'm seeing them paying between 80,000 and 100,000. I don't suppose that's a range you'd be comfortable with. I don't know if that's the number you're looking for, whatever it is, but just it's always some other investor's number. It's not your number.
Okay. I've heard this from I think Steve Morales and others have mentioned this. So like when they say give their ballpark range or whatever, they usually say something along the lines like how does that make you feel, or like or does that surprise you or something like that? Is that something like you guys do you think that would be? No, you don't think that's helpful?
There's no right way or wrong way, right? Just the way that's just not how we do it. So here's how I would do it. It's like, hey Joe, so I was looking at I was looking online, doing our research into tax records. I noticed that investors are paying between 80,000 and 100,000 for homes in your area. If someone were to make an offer like that to you, like, what will you see yourself doing? And now we know where they're at.
Gotcha.
How does that make you feel? I don't know. Like, I don't know how much intel you're going to get from that. I guess you get some intel, but I want to know what they would do with that information.
Gotcha.
Like, I would spit in their face. Like, okay, well, now I know. Like, don't make that offer.
Yeah.
I say, I would sign it. Okay, now I know that I've got a live prospect. If I hear, I don't know what I would do. I say, okay, well, at least we're in a ballpark.
Okay. So if they say, I don't know what you would do, then you'll still kind of feel them out, get more rapport building.
I still go on the appointment.
Okay. At that point.
So one of the mistakes I think a lot of people make is they really qualify on the phone on price.
Okay.
And price is not that important to me on the phone. What's important to me is you've got pain. You need to sell. You got urgency, whether it's divorce, probate, foreclosure, tired landlord, code violation, whatever. You need to sell. If you ever need to sell, I'm coming.
Gotcha.
I don't care about the price. I believe, maybe cocky, like a little overly cocky, but I believe if you've got pain, I can close you.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me tell you that. So I've got a story right now for a lead that I've been following since August, and I thought I was going to close because I mean I went through kind of like the whole pain, reigniting like the pain and letting her know and all that other stuff. But once I got to the offer, and I kind of broke it down, and like in the way that most salespeople would say, like once you're given an offer, reignite like the pain and let them know like how this can benefit them, that sort of stuff. The offer, because the ARV on that house was 140.
Mm-hmm.
They had tenants in there, which she renewed a lease for 2 years apparently. But it looks like after I spoke to her, she's like not too fond of the tenants anymore. So maybe cash or key, she'd be more open to accepting with the tenants.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing was, it's got like a huge foundation issue when it's pretty much a full gut. So I think I had a buyer from a partner, a JV partner that I've been in networking with. They sent out a buyer, and I had another buyer that's looked at it before because it's been on the contract, and they told me 25. The one that I have was saying 30. So I knew I have to be around that range. So I gave her 10 to 15. That way I can have some kind of leeway. And then she immediately shut that down. I still talked to her because we had a pretty good rapport. But she told me kind of more honestly, like she had like someone at 42, which I doubt they're going to close on. But what would you do in that case? What were your next steps to be?
Oh, 42. That sounds like a really good offer.
That's okay. That's what I said.
So what stopped you from signing that offer?
So her response was that she wants 56, and that's like just what she wants.
Mm. Okay, so you need an offer for 56.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope you get it.
Okay.
So then I would just go through and say, yeah, you probably should go back to that realtor, and she'll say like, well, we can't because of the tenants. Say, well, I mean, if you're looking for 56, I hope you get it. It might be a couple years. The way the market's appreciated, you might get that in a couple years.
Gotcha. So would you try to continue closing her on
Nope.
the spot now? No? Okay.
No.
So
here's a challenge that a lot of people have is they try to negotiate a seller from this huge gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is you can't negotiate. Like none of us are good enough to negotiate 50K on 200,000. None of us are that good.
Mm-hmm.
We're good enough to negotiate 50,000 on $1 million, right? But we're not good enough to negotiate 50,000 on a $200,000 house.
Yeah.
All we can do is to get them to negotiate against themselves.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, 56. Hope you can get that. You should, when you talk to the realtor, oh, I can't go to the realtor because it's tenant occupied. Oh, got it. Okay, well, what else have you tried? If you need 56, I understand. Maybe in a couple of years you'll get 56. Something along those lines was until she says, no, I need to sell this now. I was like, well, we need to sell it now. Like it's 15 to get it sold now. So she's got to sell herself on accepting your offer. It can't be you selling her on accepting your offer. She needs to sell herself on your offer.
Okay.
Does that process, like, does that?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying exactly. So it's pretty much just continue following up with her, and then eventually, whenever she starts getting to a point that she needs to sell immediately,
Mhm.
is whenever that 15K will be enticing for her enough to kind of bite it.
Yeah. Another exercise we have too. Well, not this part, but what we've done before is if you're closer, is you can negotiate. You can get them spending the money.
Okay.
And what that means is like, hey, Joe, it's March 4th. Let's just pretend it's April 4th, and we've closed. You're at the title company. You got your check. And you've got 40,000, not 40. You got 30,000 cash in your hand. What are you gonna do with that money? And we want to get them shopping. We want to get them spending that money. And once they're spending that money, they'll feel compelled. They'll feel more excited about accepting an offer.
Gotcha. Okay. How big of a gap do you think that would ideally work?
Yeah, it wouldn't work right now, right? If you're like
Yeah.
10, 20,000 apart, I think you can make that work.
Okay, 10, 20. Okay.
But not 56 versus 15.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a big gap when she told me that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think. So then the other question I have is, sometimes I'm having trouble getting certain prospects or leads to kind of like build rapport with and kind of uncover that their pain,
Mhm.
even though I know there's pain because either the house looks distressed or it's stacked with other like lists that it's obviously distressed.
Mhm.
And then they're just trying to move it along, kind of thing. What would you do in those scenarios?
So they've got obvious signs of pain,
Mm-hmm.
and they're acting like there's no pain.
Yeah.
Got it. So this is that the exercise we like to compare this to is kind of like you ever have a buddy go to a gentleman's club that keeps going back to the ATM?
Yeah.
So you got to crush their dreams, right? That's the only way to get them to stop going to the ATM. Like she's not going home with you, dude. Not gonna
Yeah.
happen, right? So you got to get this guy to realize, whoever this person with on the stack list, that they're out of options. And so, is this a person that is saying that they're not on any list, or they're a person saying it's not a big deal?
So usually I get to them say like they're on, like, let's say they're on probate, or let's say they're behind on their tax or whatever.
Mhm.
They'll say that they're behind on their taxes, whatever. But they don't try to like when I try to dive into it a little bit deeper, they're not wanting to say too much on it.
Got it. Okay, so they're holding the cards close.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, hey, Joe, I'm looking at this right here, and it says, you're behind on taxes. Can you tell me more about that?
Okay.
And then they tell me like, oh no, we got to figure it out. Okay, perfect. So, the 2,000, 3,000, whatever it is. So you already have that in the bank, and you already sent it off to get paid. We haven't sent it yet. Okay, but you have that money in the bank account. It's like, well, yes. So, okay, good. And you're not, with that, after you pay that, you have enough also to cover all your other bills. Right? We're assuming that they've got this problem figured out.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for them to tell us how they haven't.
Okay. So
Right. Versus, go ahead.
So you just run it through in a scenario like you assume they have it under control, even though you don't. You know most likely don't. And then eventually along the lines, they're kind of like a mishap or misstep and not going to sound like they're not confident with what they're saying. And
It's just at some point they're going to say like, well, no, I don't have that figured out. It's like, okay, well, what have you tried to do about it?
Gotcha.
But the point is, in their mind, they've got it all figured out, and they don't think about it. It's like shoved away in the dark corner of their brain. And so we're just talking about how they've got to figure it out. It's like, yeah, that 3,000, I'm sure you've got that. You probably already paid it. You haven't paid it. Okay, but you have that money in your bank account. I do. Great. And after you pay that, you have enough money also to take care of your living expenses too. I mean, we're just trying to figure out where the pain is. And once we find the pain, then we start pushing.
Okay. That makes sense.
So Raylan's asking her not to talk about their dirty laundry. Generally speaking, yeah, we want them to bring it up. But if the guy's obviously lying to you, then we'll bring it up. So we don't want to open with it. It's like, hey, I saw that you're on a tax deed sale. Right? So it's like, hey, just calling, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, everything's totally fine. And they're on a stacked list. Like, well, I'm kind of confused. Just looking at the tax records and it said this. Can you tell me about that?
Okay. Because I had a question like that similar, because that's what I've been told in the past, not to let them know, but.
Well, yeah, we start off with it as if we're innocent.
Yeah.
But if they're acting like everything's perfect, then we're going to spill the beans.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Appreciate it, Steve.
Yep. You're welcome. Anybody else? This is your guys' time. I don't do these very often. I know Harvey said he can't talk. Got Andrew, James, Luke. Hey, James. Long time.
Yeah, how you doing, Steve?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Can't complain, really.
Good.
I haven't gotten all the way through the book. I've been pretty busy with nursing, and I had this guy in India develop a podio for me.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Manu. He's the guy that Ramon Martinez used.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this for a while, and I'm really confused with how that works. So that's kind of been bugging me. I've been trying to get Manu to help me figure it out, but it's kind of a complicated system. Do you think?
Podio?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart.
Right. Any ideas on where I can maybe get some help with that, other than trying to get with Manu?
Have you tried hiring help?
Help with the podio?
Help in your operations?
I'm just talking to this guy David in Panama about maybe hiring some cold callers from him. But in fact, he and I looked at it on a Zoom call yesterday briefly, and it sounds like he's not super familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to go about hiring someone how would I find someone to help me with that?
Well, you wouldn't find someone to help you with podio. You would find someone to help you with your operations.
Right, but I mean, to know how, you skip a list, you give it to the cold callers, how that moves through the podio into the, to the closing, how, these drip campaigns work, things like that. It's got all these apps in it that I'm not sure how to use them all, I guess is what I'm saying.
Have you asked for more?
I have asked him. And I've only asked him on Instagram. I don't have his phone number or anything like that. And he doesn't seem like he really has the time or he wants to bother with it. I've talked about trying to come out there, visit him. Can't get any response from him about that either.
Yeah. That's really all I got for talking about podio help.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks anyway. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Harvey.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
What's up, Harvey?
How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. Just barely catching you. Like I said, I was just got off of work, so I figure get on really quick and ask you a couple questions if I can.
Absolutely. I got another 10 minutes for you guys.
Awesome.
Use it all up.
So I'd say I've been a wholesaler for I started doing door knocking foreclosures for private investors about a year and a half ago. I decided to, take a leap of faith and do things on my own, right? So I've hired 2 VAs for cold calling, but I am in Phoenix, which I'm sure you know how competitive it is to start. But I decided to still, give it a shot in my backyard rather than doing virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to pick slowly traction. I know it's repetition, and the more quality conversations you have with sellers, the better you'll get. The challenge I'm facing right now is, I guess I'm just learning from all of you sales. I want to say gurus. I wouldn't consider you a guru, but I consider you a sales expert. For example, I follow Pace, I follow Steven Morales, I follow you, and you guys all have a different style, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I love all you guys, man. You guys are great. Just having trouble figuring out what would be the best approach for me. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. I believe Steven Morales is very strategic. Like just he has an anchor, then offer range, then negotiation, then closing. So it's all specific.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like the more approach of figuring out the pain and rapport building and asking quality questions. So I guess my question is, how could I figure out what would be the best approach for me rather than just copying, following each script that you guys have and just figure out,
So I'm biased, obviously. So I think Steven Morales has amazing tactics. He's really good at what he does. And I think overall, in the entire industry of all I've seen, Pace is the absolute best closer I've ever met. Right?
For sure.
And that's not even like there's no silver medal. It's just Pace and there's everybody else. However, I think the way that Jamil put it is Pace is Mariah Carey. Right? You can't teach it. So I like to believe, again, biased, I'm the best sales trainer. So Pace can be over here and be Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And I can sit here and explain to you, Harvey, everything that he's doing. I can explain every move. I can explain why it worked. I can identify, okay, he just did this. He did this. That could be a good commentary, right? Here's what he did. Here's why it worked. So if you could be Pace, be Pace. If you can't be Pace, then use our process.
I hear you.
And so
Awesome.
Gary Harper is someone I look up to a lot. And we had a conversation last week. And basically what he said was that he was really happy to see me teach our process. Because now that he has someone like me to teach sales, he is confident that anybody could be a high quality, high performing salesperson if they follow my process.
For sure.
So
awesome.
Steven Morales, amazing, right? He was the only person I was worried about in Closers Olympics. And he's amazing. And I think he has some really good tactics and tools and strategies. But I think that, it's not a process that you can repeat with every seller.
Exactly. That's, I think, what I face. I figured, with his approach, it's kind of, you can use it with everyone because it's kind of like the same process, right? The same funnel. But then I get caught up, sometimes we're, actually digging into the pain more than just following the script. So, yeah, I'm with you. I like your approach and Pace's approach a lot better. Asking quality questions, digging into the pain, and really figuring out what's going to be the best approach to help them rather than just numbers. Because I feel he's more like, okay, well, here I'm looking at comps in the area, and looks like there's a property sold for X, right? The lowest comp. And yeah, it's all, I get it. You want to go based on the market and comparables, but at the end of the day, I really like the approach of being able to find the solution for the seller. And I figure that you guys ask the better quality questions So I guess that answered a little bit of my question
Cool.
today, Steve. So I really, really appreciate it, man.
All right, you're welcome. And Raylon, I'm gonna put you back up on here. Asking multiple questions. So I gotta figure out, Raylon, how to share this. So I don't know where to share this yet. But as far as favorite assumptive statements, you've heard a few of these already. Is probably caught you at a bad time.
Yep.
You heard that one. You're probably looking to have this sold like by what, like end of the summer?
Got it.
Right. So that's one you're like, no, it's gotta be much sooner than that. Let's see, what else do I have here? Let's see. When you talk to the realtor, what did they say about the property? I haven't talked to a realtor yet, or this is what the realtor said, but we're just assuming.
Gotcha.
Let's see what else. Probably doesn't make sense, or there's probably not any room on that number. Or I'm assuming there's no way you would consider a number less than that.
All right. You're saying that like after they gave their price?
Yeah, like I'm looking for 100,000. Yeah. Okay. And I'm assuming there's no way you would ever consider a number that's lower than that. It's like, well, maybe. It's like, oh, okay. Maybe. But yeah, I would say my favorite assumptive statement is probably caught you at a bad time.
Why do you say that?
Because when we used to say is now a good time? What do I sound like?
I'm about to sell you something. Or
Yeah.
ask you for something.
Yeah. Right? But if I say it probably caught you at a bad time, what's this about? It's just, so for me, it's just having more quality conversation. So as far as assumptive statements go, probably caught you at a bad time is one of my favorites. Trying to think. I mean, we use a lot of assumptive statements. Oh, sounds like you're frustrated. Sounds like you're getting a lot of phone calls. They're pissed off, right? Like, I am tired of all these cold calls. Sounds like you're getting a lot of cold calls. I'm getting a lot of cold calls. Yeah, it sounds like you're frustrated about it. I am frustrated about it. And then we'll have a regular conversation. So I guess I would say my go-to assumptive statements would be really effective when we're cold calling.
Okay.
But we use a lot, as far as like standard that we use a lot. The rest of the time is we'll use, depends on the situation, depends on the conversation.
Okay. Will we get a copy of this Zoom or?
Yes, I just got to figure out how.
Got it.
I will, but I don't know where I'll put it.
That'd be useful to be able to go back and digest this more.
Yeah.
I think that's all my questions for now. We're running out of time.
All right. Well, do you have another question?
Well, I did, but I don't know if it's a quick answer. But any
go for
tips
it.
on making processes and systems? I'm at that point.
On making processes and systems?
Yeah, or documenting them, I guess, would be a better question.
The best way is to hire somebody, right? But if resources are limited, then the second best way is to hold Zoom calls with an assistant. And then on the Zoom calls with the assistant, you send them the recording and have them document it.
So you're saying like make a video and then have them write it all down?
Well, you would just demonstrate it. So like if I were to show you how to do something, I would schedule a Zoom call, do a screen share, do all the work, send you the recording, and say, all right, document that.
Interesting. We'll try that. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a VA. I think that'll work well then.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. So then, yeah, you're welcome. So we'll wrap it up here, and yeah, I will send the recordings. I just gotta figure out how. So, bye everyone.
I know
Thank you.
there's a way to send a link, but I don't know either.
I know how to do that. I'm trying to figure out where I would put it. But guys, thank you again for your support. Appreciate it. For all the love and support on the books. Helps me a lot. And so thank you again. And I'll see you guys all in social media. Bye, guys.